Hey guys, welcome back to Decorate with Dana. So today I wanted to share with you a DIY on Kova and Kova. Okay, you need to get down. So today I wanted to share with you a DIY on how, actually two DIYs, how I like to add texture to my decor. So I've said it before in my last haul, I'm really into adding different textures. So I want to, she loves me, you love me, I love you. Okay, you gotta get down. So I want to try to add different textures. So I love adding wood, baskets, paper, and now I'm really into like the farmhouse boho kind of look. So today I wanted to share with you a couple super simple projects. Okay, I'm gonna say they're simple. I'm gonna say though there is a learning curve to them. So the first thing I wanna share with you are these Macrame Coasters. They're so cute, and if you saw in the beginning clips, they add such a soft texture to whatever you put them under. And so I love that. I love them for coasters, I love them for planters. You could put vases on them, you could put candles on them. So the first, I did make one before this video and it turned out okay, but as I got going more, then I learned how to really do it. So just be aware that there is like a learning curve. You may have to make one or two before they come out perfect, but to be honest with you, even when they're not perfect, when there's a mug or something sitting on them, they still look awesome because all you're really seeing is like the fringy stuff around the outside. So even the ones that I screwed up on, they still look really good. So anyways, I'm gonna show you how to make this, and then I'm also going to show you how to make just this super simple, these are little macrame feathers with some farmhouse beads, and just how I would use this maybe in like a tray or what I would put this around. So I'm gonna show you how to make these two projects. Again, there's a learning curve. It is not fast. It is not hard. Once you learn how to do these, they are not hard. They just can take a little bit of time. But I've been looking online because I wanted some of these, and I could not find them for any less than, I think $7 a coaster, or I did find a set of 4 for $28, right? So that's $7 a coaster. I bought this whole spool that made 3 coasters and a big planter and these feathers, and I still have enough left for probably at least 2 or 3 more coasters or a few planters. I got this whole thing, it was $7.48, and I had a 40% off coupon. So for like $4, I made all of these. So they take a little time, but they save you a ton of money, and I still have a lot left. So we're gonna get started. I'm gonna show you first how to make the coaster, and then I will show you how to make the feathers and the beaded garland. Okay, so the first thing you're gonna wanna do is measure out some of your cords. You'll have to eventually cut more throughout because you add cords in as you go, but I'd like to start out with a good start. So I'm gonna cut 1 cord about 90 inches long, and then I'm gonna cut 5 cords about 36 or so inches long. And then after that, I am going to cut some more that are about 30 inches long, 5 or 6, and then I'll have to cut more throughout. But you're going to start off first with the 5 cords that are 36 inches long and the 1 cord that is 90 inches long. So the supplies that you need are a 3mm macrame cord, 100% cotton, and a ruler, some scissors, some way to secure the coaster. So I just used some old cork coasters, and then a comb. I'm going to try to explain this the best I can. Hopefully I go slow enough with the first few knots that you can see what I'm doing. So I take one of the shorter strands and fold it in half. And then I take the 3 more of the shorter strands, and I'm tying a knot around the first strand. So the first one will be up and down, and then you will take the second 36-inch cord, fold it in half, and place the loop underneath the other cord. So hopefully you can see what I'm doing here. So again, fold it in half, taking the loop end, placing it underneath the first cords, and then pulling them through, pulling the ends through, and just tying a knot. And then you don't have to pull these super tight to begin with. We can tighten them once we make our first initial round part of the coaster. So you just do this with the other short cords, and then you're going to take the long cord, will be the last one that you do, and you're going to tie it so that one end is very long and the other one is shorter. So hopefully you'll see what I mean here. And that will be the fuel cord, the main cord that's going to go around the whole thing. So as you can see, I'm just kind of folding it so that one end is much longer than the other end, and then I'm tying that one around as well. And again, you don't have to tighten these super hard. You just kind of lightly tug on them and kind of slide them together loosely. So then once you've tied all your initial cords on, then you're going to take the bottom strands of that initial cord that you tied them all to and pull them up through the loop to make a circle. So you just take those ends, pull them through the loop, tighten them, and then you'll need to slide the knots around so that you make a nice circle. You can kind of see what I mean, so that the circle completely closes with the loop in the middle. And then once you're done doing that, then you can go through and you can tighten all the cords so that, you know, they're nice and snug on there. But it does make it easier to leave them a little looser. The cat got the end of the cord there. That's why it moved like that. It does make it a little easier. So now I'm taking this round cork that is like the base of an old coaster. Not only does this give me about a size that I want to make it, but it does help secure it. And I do end up adding another one underneath there just so my push pin could go down a little bit farther and hold it just a little bit better. So once you have it secured onto the cork, you're going to pull all of your pieces off to the side. So here I'm going to go ahead and measure about 25 or so inch cords because we're going to be adding a bunch in as we go. So I just like to have like 5 or 6 ready to go. I do end up adding a lot more than that, but I just like to have some ready to go so that when I have them ready when I need them. So once I cut these initial cords and get those ready for when I need them pretty soon, I'm going to start making my first knot. So you're always going to be taking your long cord, and that's what you're going to be tying every knot with. So if you can see here, I fold it over the cord to its left, pull that cord through, and then tie a knot. And then you're going to always want to double knot it. So then you take that same cord, but this time the smaller one goes over, pull it through, and that will be your double knot. So what you'll see that I'm doing is kind of pushing the knots together so that they start to stack. And I think you'll see what I mean as I go, and as you're doing it, you'll see what I mean. But this is what I didn't do the first time that I messed up, so it didn't look that great, but they do end up still looking nice. But, you know, you kind of learn as you go. So then you just continue that process around, taking the long cord, folding it over to the one to the left, pulling it up, pulling the smaller one up and through, tying a knot, and then always tying another knot with those same cords, then moving on to the next one. So hopefully, I'm probably not explaining it very well, but hopefully you're seeing what I mean as we go. So I'm going to just speed this up a little bit, and then I'm going to get to a point where I'm kind of back at the beginning, and there's going to be a gap in, you know, you'll see that there'll be like a larger space that you kind of need to fill in. That's when you're going to start adding a new cord. And of course, you're going to have to do that because that's how it's going to get bigger. So you'll see here in a minute, I'm going to have this larger gap. So, which is right here. No, it's not. It's the next one. So once I get to where the large gap is, then I'm going to take another one of those cords. You can see the gap there. I'm going to take another one of those cords that I cut, and I'm going to tie it onto this long string just like we tied them onto it on the first time. So I'm going to pull it, tie that knot around, slide those loops together so that then it kind of makes it a little bigger and it brings it closer to the cord next to it, and you can just keep going around and doing this till you get to the size that you want, adding cords in as you need them, which will usually be, as it gets bigger, you're going to start adding them in probably every other one or every couple of loops or knots. So you do end up adding quite a bit of cords in. So that, again, there's another space. I'm going to add another cord in and then just keep going around until I get to the desired size that I want. So what I learned after the first one is the biggest trick is sliding those loops over. So as you do your first initial knot, slide that loop over close to the other ones. That's how it starts making that edge along the outside. And then sliding the next one over as I do my double knot. That is what gives you the edge and the nice clean look of it. So I probably have some macrame experts out there. I am certainly not an expert. I am just learning how to do this. So I just wanted to share with you what I was learning. I may not have the right terminology, but hopefully, and I may not be explaining it the best, but hopefully you can kind of see what I'm doing and, just kind of go from there. So I basically just kept going until I got to the size that I wanted, and then you will see what I'm going to do from here. So this, once you get the hang of it, it is not hard. It's just time consuming. So, put on your favorite TV show or something, and, you can kind of just do it while you're watching TV once you get the hang of it. So you can see here, this is how I judged what size, where I wanted to stop. I took that coaster, that cork coaster, and just checked size-wise. So now I'm taking my larger plate, which is really like a salad size plate, and I'm just taping the coaster down to the middle so it doesn't move. And I'm just using this plate as a guide to initially do the first cut of my cords, because I'm going to be starting to brush out the cords, and I don't need to brush out this length because the longer that they are, the harder they are to brush out. So I'm just using the edge of the plate as a guide to kind of trim up the longer cords to get it a little bit smaller so that I can start cutting around, so I can start combing out the outside, and then I'll use the smaller plate to do one more trim to the size that I want. But you guys can leave this however you want. Some people like the fringe edge to be really long. Some people like it to be shorter, so it's really whatever you like. I like it to be a little bit shorter, so that's what I'm going to do. So I took it off the plate, and then I'm just taking my comb, and I'm just brushing it out. And it's really not that hard. This cord is not hard. The other one that I had tried one time was like not a twisted cord, and it was so hard to brush out. It took forever. This does not take long at all. You just give it a comb through each of the strands so it gets, all fringy on the outside and everything seems to be all brushed out. Then I'm going to take my smaller plate, which is really more like an appetizer plate. I show you in relation to the bigger one. It's just a little bit smaller. Again, I'm going to tape it to the plate just to hold it secure. And then I'm going to use the edge of this to trim my fringe one more time. And then that basically will be how I'm going to do it. You'll want to kind of brush it a little more and, trim up any extra ones that are a little bit longer or not even. So it's really not that hard. There is a learning curve to it. The first one you might mess up a little bit, but as you get going, it's so much easier. And I just think they really look so cute. So that's basically it. I'm just going to give it one more little brush and then trim up anything, and that will be how I'm going to do it. And this is what it looks like with a mug on it. And I just think they look really cute. And they also look so cute with some type of planter or something, or a vase. So next we're going to start with the feathers that are going to go on the beaded garland. So I'm cutting one 12-inch cord, and then I am cutting, I think it's about 14 other cords that are going to be 6 inches. So a little word of advice. These were harder to work with because the cords were small. So I would probably initially cut the other cords maybe like 8 inches because you can always trim them. They're just hard to work with when they're that small. So again, you're taking the longer cord, pulling it in half. And so that will be facing you with the loop up. And then I think I turn here so you can see me a little bit better what I'm doing. You take one of the 6-inch cords, fold it in half, put it underneath like we did with the coaster, and then taking the other one, weaving it through on the other side, basically so you're knotting it over that center cord. Again, I hope that you can kind of see what I'm doing. These were a little bit harder, but you want to alternate which way the loops go underneath. If you forget, it's really not a big deal. You can't really tell too much because I did kind of mess up on one and you really didn't even know it. So you want to get all those cords tied on and kind of pushed up close to each other. And then when those are done, you'll have the little ends hanging down and you can go ahead and just leave those. Those are going to be the bottom part of the feather. So you can do this in ways where you cut like 6-inch pieces and then 4-inch pieces and 3-inch pieces, but that got to me so hard to work with. To me, the longer pieces were easier and then I could just trim it to the size that I needed. So when I was done, I just brushed these out. So again, they got all fringy and then I just gave them a trim to the shape of the feathers. And that is basically how I made the feathers. Now, what you could do, which I don't have any, is use some of the, I think it's like called stiffening spray or something. It's for fabric to make the fabric stiff. That will hold the feather shape a little bit better. I don't have any, and I'm okay with them being just kind of fringy looking, but you know, you can get that fabric spray and it will hold the feather in place, all the fringe a lot better. So once I get the feather to the shape that I want, I'm going to start on my beaded garland. So I have my beads and then I needed to get some more of the bigger beads and I went to Michael's and I wanted to spray paint the bigger beads gray, but they already had these that were gray, so that was perfect. So I grabbed some of these beads. They have some different sizes in there, but I really wanted the big gray beads for this project. So I am just cutting my twine to the size that I want. And then I am stringing the beads in whatever order that you want to do it. I'm doing 4 of the natural colored beads, 2 of the smaller ones, to 1 of the bigger gray beads. And then I'm just stringing them, you know, that way till I get to the end. And then when I am done, then I will take my, I'll knot it off and then cut the loop on the one end of the twine. And where the open ends are, I'll tie the feathers on each end through the loops that are in the feathers. You'll see what I mean here when I'm done. And that's it. These are super cute and super easy. They're amazing in tiered trays and trays to add some texture. They look really cute around candle rings or mugs. So that's about it. I hope that you guys enjoy this. I hope I'm explaining everything okay. I'm going to show you here in a minute how I like to use these projects. But again, I hope I explained it okay. But if I didn't, hopefully you could at least see what I was doing. It was very hard to try to explain this. But I think if I could do it, you guys can do it. Seriously. So yeah, so I'm going to show you how I'm going to use these in my decor. So here's just a couple little ideas of how I might use this. You could wrap this around a candle ring and it just kind of adds a little bit of texture, visual interest, and you could leave it hang off. You could set it up like this. And it just, like I said, it kind of softens up this space where I don't really have much texture going on. So just another way that you could use this is laid really pretty on this book stack. Again, just adding that boho farmhouse vibe, adding more texture and visual interest to this area as well. So I love these coasters. This I just have sitting on my desk under this blush pink mug that I always keep in my office. And if I have coffee in here, usually I use that. And then I wash it because it matches so perfectly in this office. So I keep it in here. And I love this coaster underneath it. It just really softens up the harshness, the black of the desktop. And it would just soften up any area where what you're putting it under. And then here's just one more idea under a planter or a vase or a lamp. This looks so pretty. So this was just another idea. I put it under this planter and I love the way that that looks as opposed to just the planter on this desktop. I feel like this just totally softens it and changes the vibe. So thank you guys again so much for watching. I hope I explained everything okay. Let me know if you guys use any type of decor like this in your decorating. I just like the kind of boho mixed with farmhouse. I think it's a really cool way to add texture to your decor. So thank you guys so much for watching. Follow me on Instagram at decoratewithdana. If you are new, I hope you will subscribe. I will see you guys in my next video. Have a great day.